Toy Story 3 is a masterpiece, one of Pixar's best. As I recently rewatched it, I was reminded of its relatability. I recently graduated from university, and I remember what it felt like leaving my home for the first time, to go live in a new world, the same way Andy and so many of us did. This story is essentially one of letting go of our fears, our past, and our resistance to change, to accept what can be, but to also celebrate and appreciate what was. The movie beautifully captures what growing up and letting go of your childhood and past looks like, through the minds of our favorite toys, Buzz, Woody, and the gang, but also through the experiences of Andy and his mom. Even the antagonist Lotso has his own story and struggle with letting go and moving on. It's cool to see the franchise parallel the children growing up when the movies were being released. Like the kids who grew up on Toy Story 1 and 2 were most likely getting ready to go to college when Toy Story 3 rolled around, making it a perfect film for them to relate to. Anyhow, the gang start off this movie desperate and saddened as they aren't played with anymore. Andy is too old for them now. He rejects them and calls them junk, being unappreciative of the role they played in his life. Woody, being the leader that he is, urges everyone to keep up hope and reminds them constantly of their role as toys, to be there for Andy no matter what.
But we've always said this job isn't about getting played with, it's about
being there for Andy, we know.
The story develops and the toys are taken to daycare, where they are introduced to a world in which they are appreciated constantly. We find out that new kids come in each year and play with these toys, meaning that the validation will never end for the toys. But Woody is insistent on staying true to their roots and going back to Andy. Woody is resistant to change. He isn't willing to let go.
No! I have a kid. You have a kid. Andy! And if he wants us at college or in the attic, well then our job is to be there for him. Perfect. I can't believe how selfish you all are.
The group splits up and goes their separate ways, and Woody is taken in by Bonnie, where he finally gets played with after years. Here he learns Lotso's backstory, which speaks magnitudes about the theme of letting go and how important it is. Lotso was basically forgotten by his child, and went through hell to get back to her, only to find out that she replaced him. He is devastated by this sight, and acts out in hatred for the rest of the movie.
Something changed that day inside Lotso. Something snapped.
She replaced us. She replaced all of us, didn't she? She don't love you no more.
Lotso wasn't able to let go of his past, and he continued to make life terrible for everyone else, and himself wherever he went. He remained unhappy, an important lesson for Woody, but also a really sick villain backstory. And I really want to stick with the emotional core of the movie. Like, although the escape sequences are really cool, I think the movie shines in its third act. The toys make it back to Andy, and Woody separates himself from the group, as he is the one toy that Andy decided to take to college. He says his last goodbye to all his friends, his family. And we get to see the most heartfelt and relatable scene of the movie. Andy's mom walks in and sees his packed up room. All those years of memories get to her. His mom, the same as every mom, finds it difficult to let go of her son.
Andy.
Mom, it's okay.
I know. It's just... I wish I could always be with you.
And as Woody sees this, he feels a lot in this moment, and he's reminded of his own family and all that they've been through. He wonders if it's time to let go of Andy and be where he's needed, where he makes sense. And as he looks at a picture of his family, he wonders who he really wants to be with. And so Woody writes Bonnie's address on the box, and Andy makes one last stop before going off to college. He brings all of his toys to Bonnie and takes a trip down memory lane as he introduces all the toys to her. With each introduction, he's reminded of all the memories he made with his toys and what they meant to him. It's a beautiful story of passing down memories symbolized by toys. And as he does this, he's filled with gratitude because he realizes that these inanimate objects gave him something. Whether it be fun or imagination or creativity, they meant something to him.
Now, you gotta promise to take good care of these guys. They mean a lot to me.
Andy learns to appreciate them in this moment, as he sees what these toys can mean to Bonnie. And the most human scene in the movie for me is where Bonnie tries to take Woody, and Andy hesitates. Woody was Andy's first toy, his first best friend, and was the one toy he wasn't willing to part with, his last attachment to his childhood.
Now, Woody, he's been my pal for as long as I can remember. The thing that makes Woody special is he'll never give up on you, ever. He'll be there for you, no matter what.
Woody doesn't give up. He doesn't give up on his friends or Andy and constantly finds a way to make everything work. And although Andy doesn't know any of this, just the fact that he's always been there has Andy feeling like Woody never gave up on him. It's a really interesting scene, one written so well. And so Andy lets go and passes on this legacy to a new generation, and he spends one final moment in his childhood playing with all the toys that helped him become the man he now is. And so Andy gets ready to drive off and waves back at Bonnie, the toys, and his childhood, and with one last look, he expresses his appreciation to his toys for just being there for him.
Thanks, guys.
He drives off to start his new beginning. And the toys get what they've always wanted, that love, that appreciation. That final wave represents so much. Growing up, letting go. Maybe the filmmakers were saying goodbye to this generation. And although Toy Story 4 came out, I still think 3 would have been a perfect ending. And so we end off our simple story of a boy growing up and letting go of his childhood. It's really amazing how Disney gives meaning to inanimate objects and connects that meaning to relatable things that all us people go through. I love this movie because it makes me appreciate the smaller things, like toys that were there for us when no one else really was. The movie also gives us a great lesson in letting go of our childhood and past, but also celebrating the past and keeping those that matter close to us always.